Thank you very much for being a part of the program again today. My name is Dakbo Aruwajoye. It's going to be another busy day at the National Assembly, talking of the upper chamber, that's the Senate. Today, the screening of the ministerial nominees will continue. So there are about 18 of them should be screened today or maybe tomorrow. And we will give you live coverage and updates as we promised. Definitely we will do that, but we will continue with what we started yesterday. That's setting an agenda for these incoming ministers. What's the task ahead of them? So that's what we are going to do this morning. And to help us do the discussion this morning, I have Dr. Omadele Boyo. He's a policy analyst. Thank you very much, Doctor. And he's also a medical doctor. And Olukayode Salako is a change agent. Is of the change agent of Nigeria. Yes. What's the CANN about?
Yeah, that's our movement.
That's a change agent.
Change agent of Nigeria Network.
Network. Okay.
It is a movement we have been running since 2011.
Okay.
Even before APC was formed.
Okay. Thank
I've
you.
been on it.
Thank you very much for being part of the program.
Thank you.
Dr. Madeli, yesterday we talked about with two guests I have. We talked a little about agriculture, defense, education, finance, health, petroleum resources and works. But since you are here again, let's quickly talk about health. The new minister coming. Let's assume any minister coming for the health, minister of health, because the guest I had yesterday was talking about the primary health. Is that part of your own concern, or what again should the minister be looking at?
Oh, there are so many things the minister has to look at, but you see, health in itself is not all about hospitals. It's not all about medicine. Health transcends food, poverty alleviation, access to healthcare itself, and also the competence of health practitioners. I would expect the new minister to focus primarily on what was said yesterday, primary healthcare, and ensuring that even the secondary health institutions are upbeat and they are running. We want to look at situations where we still have what is known as medical tourism, where people travel all the way to India and other parts of the world for simple things that could have been done here. If you remember, a few days ago, one of the former governors died of cardiac arrest.
Yes.
And, if he wasn't maybe wanted abroad, maybe they would have shipped him abroad, And so we should have tertiary institutions, centers of excellence that are working. Not necessarily white elephant projects, but get them up and running. Like we still have people going about for kidney transplant, liver transplants, serious illnesses that most of the doctors you even meet in Europe and America are even Nigerians. So it's not our lack of personnel, it's our inability to put all our resources together and, as it were, run the show. We have people that can have the best. Look at private setups all over the country doing so well. Why can't the government setups do well? If government can fund, government can provide resources, government can provide loans, and government on its own can even think of, look, we've had one or two presidents who died from diseases that they had to go abroad regularly. And so if these things were up and running, that you can get the best treatment in this country, you don't need to go abroad. For goodness sake, it's not even difficult to establish these centers and bring some of these practitioners, either Nigerians in the diaspora or even foreigners. Because when it comes to life, nobody wants to know the religion or the race of the person giving him life. The person just wants to be well. So what we would think of doing is let the minister do three things. One, there are ancillary issues that relate to health, like agriculture and good transportation, housing, and if people have all these things running for them, health is not just at the absence of disease, a state of social, mental, emotional well-being. And so providing drugs and providing hospitals alone is not enough. Must look at other contributory factors to good health, like I've mentioned now, and then concentrate on the upgrading, making sure that tertiary health institutions are not just functional, they are centers of excellence indeed. Then there's a health bill that has been lagging behind in the National Assembly, yet to be approved. It was on the table of the former presidents are not yet converted to law. And this health bill, if converted to law, will go a long way to enhancing productivity in the health sector. Maybe I will add also, make every effort to reduce the number of strikes that have plagued this country over the years, either from doctors, pharmacists, lab scientists, nurses. If we could have 4 good years of hospitals running at its optimum, it would be great.
Okay, Mr. Salako, health and social services. That's what I think. That's the ministry that we have. So let's talk about social science, services, which is just part of health. Do you think, because we're talking about a whole lot for the aged, we're talking about even taking care of a whole lot about social services. So what do you think the minister will add to make our people feel okay? The government is concerned about me.
Well, thank you, Dakbo. I'd like to articulate my contribution this way. You see, the present government we have right now and the political party running that government knows that the expectation of Nigerians are very, very high. They know that Nigerians want them to quickly turn things around. The president knows. And so, I don't have any doubt in me that some of the things we want to say here are not already being put on the front burner, of considerations. I am an educationist. I'm a seasoned educationist of about 26 years old experience. And so I would have loved to contribute in the area of the education system. But coming back to the social system, social services in Nigeria, you see, one of the things Nigeria does not have is that our social welfare benefit system has been non-existent. There is no social welfare benefit system in Nigeria. Maybe it is recently when the like of the former governor of Ekiti State,
Kayode
Fayemi, came in with his own program where he was considering very aged Ekiti people for 5,000 naira monthly. Maybe. But in the Western world, in countries, ideal country where systems work, I think social welfare benefit system is very, very important to the people. It's key.
Very, very.
So there is no way the Buhari government wants to achieve anything much for Nigerians if that social, if it does not leave the legacy of a very vibrant and rewarding and easily accessible social welfare benefit system. When you are working and you know that, oh, this is what my government owe me, or let me say owes me, at the end of it all. For example, I know that in the UK, once you get to a certain age in that system, the system takes over substantial part of your bills. For example, old people go on free public transport. School children within certain age bracket go on free public transport, free health. They also have access to money that the system pays into their accounts.
Stipends
to sustain them. And that is why the rate of criminal activities, has not been that high in the Western world. So I want to come back home. And I would like to see a Buhari federal government that will start putting some of these key things that ordinary Nigerians can easily benefit from
into
place.
Do you think the country has the money for that immediately?
Well,
should we just wait after a while?
you see,
before we start
Nigeria
having-
has the money. You cannot have corruption as a monster in a country, and you say you will have the money. The money Nigeria is supposed to use to make provisions for all these services. These are the money we've been talking about that have been stashed
abroad.
These are the monies we'll be talking about that are in the hands of private people. For example, how can the nation, the country, have money to sponsor some of these laudable programs when the money 1 million people are supposed to be spending is lying idle in the private account of one greedy Nigerian? One person
Wow.
is holding the money. About 2 million people are supposed to be benefiting from. It's in his account. He's not even using it. He has got to hide it somewhere. So that is the problem.
A big problem.
If the federal government can do so much, if not to kill corruption publicly, because it will be difficult to eradicate corruption publicly in our system. But if it can be alleviated, if some of these loopholes can be plugged, and the incidence of corruption is reduced to the barest minimum, there will be money to provide all these services.
Okay, hopefully, Dr. Madeli, will there be money for us to have our own national carrier? Let's talk about aviation now, because one of the ministers to be was saying something. I think it was the one from Adeosun. I forgot.
Kemi
Adeosun was saying that we need to have our national carrier, and that's the cry of most of the people. Why is it that Kenya over there has got his own national carrier, South Africa has got his own national carrier? Why is it that it's difficult for us to have a Nigerian Airways back?
It's quite difficult, and the reason is obvious. It's not what you want, it's what is feasible. You had a national carrier for decades that was getting worse in terms of service delivery and operations, and people had cried. The national carrier died, not because we didn't need a national carrier, but it's still the issue of corruption. If you have a national carrier today, there must be a national carrier that one can survive competition. Just like how we have, look at Nitel now. I mean, Nitel couldn't survive. Nitel even till now couldn't be bought because the endemic corruption had pervaded so much of Nitel that even the due diligence studies done by many people, eventually they found out that after buying Nitel, they couldn't cope with what they made there. Wow. You know, and that's the same thing with even NEPA. Now, what we are looking about now is that to have a national carrier is not just for the pride of having a national carrier. There must be things in place, systems in place that will ensure that a national carrier is run like a profit-making organization. It's run like a multinational. It's run with excellence in mind. I mean, you were mentioning Kenya Airways. Look at Ethiopian Airways. Now, I judge one of the best in the world. It's not because the name Ethiopian Airways doesn't mean that it's the government of Ethiopia that owns Ethiopian Airways 100%. It is to get this thing up and running we're talking about. And that's why we now ask ourselves, what do we put in place? First of all, eliminate corruption, cronyism, getting government officials to fly first class free of charge, getting people to fly business class free of charge. If we're going to have a national carrier, it's not because members of the National Assembly want to fly to out of the country free of charge. If they're ready to pay, and the national carrier is run like a profit-making venture, it will work. But I want to assure you that most of the people shouting for national carrier, there are those who still want back the nostalgia of flying government airline free of charge. And you can even delay I remember those of Nigeria Airways, a flight meant for Abuja, and we're at the airport waiting, is diverted to London to take somebody to London and come back. A flight meant for London will wait for like 2 hours because the minister is still in the bathroom trying to catch up with the plane. Wow. So those things made people to lose interest. So if the national carrier comes, it don't stop people from patronizing the other carriers, whether they are from other countries of the world or not, because people these days are hungry for efficiency, safety, and even they want to be sure that they are getting return on their investment too. So when major people want to invest in national carrier, they want to ask themselves, what kind of environment is this national carrier going to operate in? Are there people there who want to enter board a plane without boarding pass without paying? Are they going to employ air hostesses that can't speak any language or even English very well? Are they going to get pilots because they are brothers and siblings of people in power? Are they going to get technicians and get brand new planes? So it's not the money.
A lot is involved.
Yeah, it's not the money to float a national carrier. It's the future of a national carrier, being efficient and delivering deliverables, I use that word, and people can now invest in it. They can go to the stock market and people will buy. But who want to buy? I want to ask you yourself, would you want to buy, if they ask you to buy the stock of Nigeria Airways and the stock of BA, which one would you like to buy? Because you can see from without crystal ball, you will know that the Nigeria Airways may not even last a hog. So the problem here is not, we all want a national carrier. But one national carrier that will work.
Who we are is a problem.
But who we are, because you may recall that the aviation sector has been marred with controversies of recent. Controversies talking about corruption, talking about mismanagement of funds there. And do you think this Buhari government is going to make us change the concept that we used to think of, the way even the ministers then, the ministers that had the powers to themselves? Are we going to change that concept?
Well, a lot are already changing, no doubt. Maybe because of the body language of Mr. President. But I want to say this, that you see, if anything is going to change, we, the people of Nigeria, as enshrined in our constitution, must decide that we want to change, our ways of life, our perception, our orientation, mindset towards things that are of the public government is also an issue. When it comes to managing our own things that we privately own, we are able to manage it very well.
That's our own
personal things, businesses, resources. Most times we end up managing them very well. But anything that has to do with government things, as we see in the management of the moribund Nigeria Airways,
already dead,
yeah. Dead Nigeria Airways. Then this, who we are, the typical Nigerians in us as a people, they come to play.
Maybe I will.
Sorry. Nigeria Airways did not run itself down. It is Nigerians who ran Nigeria Airways down because of bureaucratic, self-centered, myself kind of tendencies. Oh, it is Nigeria Airways, it is owned by government.
And that's why you could have a minister, a whole plane waiting for a minister.
Of course. That is when one person can decide to travel out of the country on board Nigeria Airways with about 20 people from his family, free of charge. How can that kind of an organization break even? So, systems that easily work in other climes, systems that work in other countries, hardly work in Nigeria because of who we are, the typical Nigerian tendencies in us.
So we have to change that mindset.
Nigerians we are the ones frustrating our system. Our system does not have any problem. Nigerians are the problem of Nigerians. And until we can do something, anything tangible, to change that, orientational tendencies, then Nigeria will start getting it well. Now, why must it be, it is now that we have a president in Muhammadu Buhari, that everybody will now have to know that, a lot of things must now automatically change. Things must now change. Why one man? Why can't all of us as a people decide
to change that?
To change that about Nigeria. What happens?
But what happens to
when President Muhammadu Buhari leaves? What happens when he leaves? We, the people he will hand over to, not come and reverse Nigeria back to the status quo?
Maybe
so
that's
these are some of the things that we need to we need to consider when talking about what will change and what will not change about Nigeria. We, the people, must start saying things must change. Should not be from the mouth. Should not just be from the mouth. Go to our airport, sir.
Yeah,
go to our airport. From the airport, you will see that typical Nigerian tendencies in us. But when you go to the airport in other climes, Western countries, civilized countries, in quotes, because I don't know whether we are civilized yet or we are not civilized, but when you go to civilized countries where they allow their systems to run their ways of life, to run their things, you will see what we are talking about there. But come back to Nigeria here.
Okay.
Everybody is just struggling for himself.
Okay. Mr. Salako, we need to, Dr. I'll come back to you, but we need to go to Port Harcourt because our correspondent, Uche Okoro, is standing by. There is a breaking news. There's a protest over there. Uche, good morning. Uche, if you can hear me, what's happening in Port Harcourt? What's the protest all about? Uche Okoro? Hello, Uche. If you can hear me, what's the protest in Port Harcourt about? Uche. Uche, are you still there? Okay. We'll definitely come back to Uche, so we'll know what the breaking news is all about. Let's talk about, because you mentioned the airports.
Yeah.
Is it our mindset that makes our airport so unconducive? Because when you come from even Dubai, that's so hot, you don't know it's hot outside because the airport is cold. I mean, it's cool inside. The air conditioning is working. The whole system is, when it rains, it doesn't drip. But why is it our mindset that makes our airport that way?
Yeah, it's our mindset, and coupled with the fact that where there's indiscipline and impunity, anything can go away. I tell you, somebody once wrote that in Nigeria will buy a Volkswagen Beetle with the price of a Rolls Royce. So at the end of the day, we waste money and we are corrupt. Whenever corruption has its way, it's an expensive system to run. It's a form of government we are running here, and it's the most expensive.
That's why you said Volkswagen Beetle, because I was wondering, in that same aviation sector, that was where we bought
armored vehicles for hundreds of millions of dollars. So you find out that some of these air conditioners are second hand, they're not well maintained, and people just build airports. Even when you go and look at most of these remodeled airports, you see that the finishing is very poor. The finishing is not only poor, you can predict that these airports will break down in a few years' time. They are not built to last. And why are they not built to last? Corruption. You see, the Ethiopian system was able to put up a railway, high-speed railway, for $675 million. High-speed railway that could take you about 200 kilometers an hour. And they did that so you can crisscross parts of Ethiopia in minutes. Addis Ababa, we will now have the trains running for $675 million. And this railway line was put up in years. If it's in Nigeria, that same railway line may be in billions of dollars. So that's what happens. Now, if you go to other African countries, the airports are good. They may not be as beautiful as, you go to Kenya airport, go to the airport in Ethiopia.
Kenya, the airport is clean.
Yeah, clean.
Good.
But you see that our attitude to work, like I said, government's work is nobody's work. So people just get it when they like. What happens all over the world is that airports are no longer owned by government. Airports, even in places where they are owned by government, they are owned by the town council, they are owned by the city, they are not even owned by the state. And at the end of the day, Atlanta Airport is not owned by the state of Georgia. It's not owned by the federal government. It's run by the city of Atlanta. And the city is able to run it. If you are fired, you are fired. And some of these services within the airports are concessioned out in a way that people running these things are private institutions. So the airport can be owned by the government, and we're talking about concessioning, and people are against concessioning. They feel that the federal government is giving out the patrimony, national patrimony, to private individuals. But you can have an airport owned by the city, owned by the state. But services within the airport can be concessioned out and income generated from such services.
Okay, Dr. Mali, thank you there. Uche, are you still there? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm still here.
Yes, what's happening in Port Harcourt? I heard there's a breaking news and there's a protest. What's happening?
All right. Just a few moments ago, a massive procession of youth just passed by. They are protesting over the arrest of the director or the leader of the Biafra movement here in Nigeria. So that's what the protest is all about this morning.
Okay, so they're protesting against the arrest of the leader.
Exactly.
So who are these? Who are these people? Are they from Masob or who are they?
Well, I don't exactly, I don't know their specific coloration, but what I can tell you is that these are persons whom are protesting here this morning in Port Harcourt are supporters and sympathizers of those who are calling for the creation of a country called Biafra. So those are the persons whom are protesting this morning. As to whether they are members of MASOP, I cannot exactly tell specifically, but I can tell you that they are persons whom are against, who are they are not in support of the arrest of the leader of the latest Biafra movement as we have it today.
Okay, so how large is this crowd? Are they peaceful? Are they restless?
Well, right now, it is still at the level of a peaceful protest. But in terms of the mood, I would say peaceful because they have not begun to embark on any violence. There hasn't been attacks or confrontations or looting or bloodshed or fightings or anything like that. But they are in their hundreds, maybe even thousands, if at the risk of exaggeration, they could actually even be numbering up to their thousands. But their mood, they are very agitated, chanting, they are driving. You have a vehicle that can contain 5 people, containing up to 10 people. You have people riding on rooftops of vehicles, people carrying tree branches and with their singlets, some are bare chested and so on and so forth, and they are chanting and so that's the mood. As it stands now, there hasn't been any outright outbreak of violence, but the mood is very, very sensitive right now.
Okay, thank you very much. You stay safe, Uche, and we'll definitely get back to you, or you get back to us if you hear the latest about that protest. Thank you very much for that insight. Yes,
just briefly.
Briefly,
yes, I'm surprised at this. Well, I shouldn't be surprised because people instigate others to do right. These days when you have unemployment, if all those youths were working in the oil industry and the banks, they won't have time to be going on protests. When people are, the devil finds work for idle hands. And so people can easily idle minds. Who can easily instigate people to riot? Because Nnamdi Kanu, the young man who was running Radio Biafra, was arrested and released on bail. So he's not really in custody and he's supposed to go to courts. If the justice system is running well, if he's not indicted or if he's not found guilty, he'll be released. So people have no right to go on protest for a situation where somebody was arrested, arraigned properly, and released on bail. Now, he was arrested in Lagos here. He came in from England on Saturday from London and was arrested in Lagos. Today is Tuesday. By Monday, he had been taken up by the SSS and had been released on bail. So why the protest?
The protest all about?
Most of people even protesting, not even the name of the young man. All they just know is that let's go on the street and shout and carry placards. So, and this is where information management comes in. If the government or River State or the federal government had quickly made this known, and I could have nipped the protest in the bud and stopped these people from protesting because it's uncalled for. Because the person you are protesting about has been released. And secondly, it's not that the guy was doing anything innocent. He had been
because Radio Biafra is not a legal radio station.
Yes, not yes. And again, it's the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission had cause to challenge some of the contents of the broadcast. And he had continued even whipping sentiments against the sovereign state of Nigeria. And if somebody is taking up on that, why go on the street again to protest that?
Okay.
When he can come up in court, I'll
quickly come to you, but that takes us to the Ministry of Information.